Hello there, and welcome to Safe Option Strategies presentation of ultimate success in the stock market. Never lose money again. My name is Jeffrey Dunyan. I am the owner and founder of Safe Option Strategies, and I'm more excited to be doing this recording than I have been in a while. For those of you that don't know, if you're watching one of these presentations for the very first time, uh, we re-record a presentation like this and put on our website about every 2 weeks, approximately. Sometimes we'll do it a little more often than that. Sometimes we'll get a recording that we really like and it covers everything really well, and we'll leave it up there for 3 or 4 weeks. But I'm kind of more excited today to be doing this because of what's going on right now and because of the success that we are hearing from our students at Safe Option Strategies. But by way of quick introduction, I started Safe Option Strategies over 15 years ago, and my goal was twofold. My goal was to help people get more confident, get better, get more profitable, get more successful in the market, be able, and this is kind of one big goal, be able to sleep better at night, be able to know that their money is protected, just peace of mind. My first goal was to give away, find a way for people to be actively involved in the stock market and get all of the benefits of the stock market and see the success that they wanted without the risk. One of the reasons we called the company Safe Option Strategies is because I'm going to show you the absolute lowest risk way to be in the market and still be profitable. Okay. The second goal was I looked around at the world of investment education. I was involved in it. I worked for a company that was charging people, this is 15 years ago. I worked for a company that was charging people $5,000 to get into a program. And that was the entry level. That was just the beginning. In fact, I think it was like $59.95. So you had to pay almost $6,000 just to get in at that most basic entry level. And then that was stock market basics. That was just for people who were brand spanking new to the stock market. They had never traded their own money. They had let other people trade their money for them, or they were just moving money from savings into the market for the very first time in their life. And it cost a little bit to learn all of that. And then the next level was option basics, and you'd pay another $5,000 or $6,000 to learn the basics of options. And then you would pay another $5,000 or $6,000 to learn some more advanced option strategies. And then you'd pay another $5,000 or $6,000 to get in and learn some advanced portfolio management. And then on top of that, you could pay extra for one-on-one coaching and all this. It was ridiculously expensive. This company that I was working for was charging people upwards of $30,000 to get all the bells and whistles and everything they want. And on top of that, you had to pay $50 every month just to have access to the website where you could do all of this. And if you bought the whole big package up front, you shelled out $25,000 or $30,000 right up front, then they would go ahead and give you the website access free for the first couple of years. Then you had to start paying that $50 a month. So they were getting more than their pound of flesh. I was just horrified at the price that was being charged for investment education. And the company that I was with was not the most expensive one out there. They were not the most expensive one out there. There was one company, they're out of business now, so I'll tell you their name. Teach Me to Trade was the name of the company. $40,000 for their full-blown, all the bells and whistles package. I'll erase this in a second. I'll put this on the screen. $40,000. 40K, that's an ugly K. I mean, it was just absolutely ridiculous, the amount of money that they wanted to charge people to be in this program. And so my second goal was, I can teach people. Once I got good at what I was doing, I tried some strategies of my own. I learned from some other people. I found that I had a love for teaching it to other people. And I found some things that were different than even what they were doing that were really working well and working more consistent and was just a better way of trading, plain and simple. And I thought, I can do this for people for a lot less money. You have to ask yourself the question from time to time. If you haven't asked this question out loud, you've asked yourself a question something similar to this. How can I consistently beat the stock market? How can I get the returns and the gains that I hear other people are getting, and not be one of these horror stories or one of these tragedies where I lose it all? How can I protect my money and still make gains? Or how can I protect my money, and if I've had a good month or I've had a good quarter, how can I preserve that so I don't go backwards on the next bad quarter? One of the biggest frustrations in the stock market is the back and forth, the constant back and forth. You're up for a few days and then you're down for a few days, or you're up 1 month and then you're giving back that much or more the next month. And it can be really hard to show any kind of consistency. How can I learn and profit at the same time? One of the most frustrating things to me is people that will, this frustrates me when I hear about people who have spent money on a program and then they're supposed to do nothing but paper trading and virtual trading for maybe the first 3 to 6 months. I remember hearing about a company one time that made people sign an agreement when they spent $7,500 for this education program. This is about 10 years ago. $7,500 for an education program, and then they were told, now don't do anything but paper trading. You have to agree in writing here that you're not going to do anything other than paper trade until we sign off on you being proficient at the things that we're teaching you. Imagine that. You just shell out $7,500 and now they want you to not make any money for a while. And what if it, you might be a fast learner and get it all down and be proficient at it in a month? What if it took you 6 or 7 months and you're sitting there on that $7,500 you just spent, and now you're not supposed to trade? So hopefully you're asking yourself the question also, how can I learn and profit at the same time? I'm going to take the next 25 or 30 minutes. I'm going to show you a way you can be actively involved in the market and do it at dramatically lower risk. In some cases, zero risk, and how you can still be very, very profitable in the stock market. Now, I want to be really clear on something. I don't want anyone who's listening to this presentation right now to get to the end and feel like I have somehow pulled the wool over your eyes, or that I've somehow been misleading or dishonest about something. I'm going to tell you right now, even at the risk that you may turn this presentation off and not finish it. I hope you don't. I hope you stay and listen all the way to the end and watch. But at the risk that you might turn this off, I'm going to be really super honest with you, because there's too many people in my industry that won't do this. And I don't want to be one of those people. I don't want to be one of those people that makes you think something is different than what it is. We do not give away our education at Safe Option Strategies. We are an investment education company, and the stuff we teach costs money. I don't want you to be shocked by that. I don't want you to get to the end of the presentation and say, oh, this looks all fantastic. What? I have to spend some money to learn all of this? No, let me just tell you right up front. If you see something you like in what we're doing, and you want to make some money, and you want to have some peace of mind and feel protected and feel safe and feel like you can succeed in the market, and if you want a guarantee in writing that we can help you do that, a literal guarantee in writing that we will help you be profitable, it comes at a price. Now, our price for our education is way, way lower than these prices that I've been throwing out there. These prices that I've been telling you about from some of these other companies, we're not even a fraction. I mean, we're just a fraction of that. Way lower prices than that. But this is not a something for nothing proposition. I'm being brutally honest with you, because the only way you're ever going to do business with me, the only way you're going to consider looking at my education, is if somehow, some way, I can build up a little bit of trust. You've got to show a little bit of trust in me. So I'm going to show you some things to try and help earn that trust, and to try and show you the possibilities, what you can unlock in the stock market, and how easy it is to be profitable and be consistent and outperform the stock market every single year that you're in, every month, every quarter you're in. But at the end of the presentation, you're going to have to ask yourself one more question. Am I willing to invest a little bit in myself? Am I willing to make an investment into learning this? Am I willing to make an investment, a little bit of money and a little bit of time to learn how to do this and to get good at it? Okay. One of the toughest things about the market is that we don't know what's going to happen next week or next month or next year. We just don't. And one of the biggest farces, one of the absolute biggest con jobs are people that tell you they can predict what the market is going to do or what an individual stock is going to do, because they just simply cannot predict it. Now, there are tools you can use. There are technical indicators and tools you can use to help you make better educated guesses. But if you ever for one split second in your involvement in the market think that your next decision is not an educated guess, you're going to set yourself up for some major failure. We're going to teach you, one of the things we're going to teach you at Safe Option Strategies is how to make those educated guesses more educated and be more accurate more of the time, but always under the context of, we don't know when this kind of thing is going to happen. We don't know if this is going to happen again before the end of this year. This black swan event, this market sell-off because of the COVID-19 virus that happened to us back in mid-February, no one saw that coming. Nobody could have predicted that. We've had a pretty good partial recovery since then, but no one saw this coming, and most people couldn't react fast enough to this to not suffer big losses. Money that's tied up in a pension or money that's tied up in a 401k oftentimes takes the brunt of these kind of drops, because the money managers and the people that manage those funds, they can't make changes in it day to day the way you and I can. They can't make a change on the fly the way you and I can. And so oftentimes it's pensions and it's retirements, it's 401ks that take the biggest hits. They're tied up in mutual funds. And your broker that's got you in that mutual fund, he's making a nice little 5-6% every year on your money that's in a mutual fund. He doesn't want to give that up, so he's not going to cash out of that mutual fund and put the money somewhere else where he can protect it better. And that mutual fund's going to be subject to this big drop. Markets are always going to correct as long as there's still a growing economy. But do you know, on the day that I'm recording this, we got our second quarter GDP numbers, and GDP for the US fell 32.9%, and that is the biggest one quarter drop in the history of the United States economy. This COVID-19 pandemic, this shutdown of our economy, it wreaked havoc. Now, we've had this phenomenal recovery since then. But I'm telling you right now, folks, if we get a second shutdown in the economy, if we get a partial shutdown, and some states are actually getting that already, I don't know that the next drop might be a lot more severe than this one. You cannot assume that this can't happen again. We've come back up 45%. We've had some hiccups along the way. There've been some road bumps. Things got a little scary right there in the early part of June. And a lot of people, after just a few days where the markets really turned to the downside, a lot of people thought, uh-oh, here comes that second time around. This is going to drop again. And then we managed to stabilize a little bit and climb a little bit. Today is kind of ugly. We're kind of trending down over the last couple of weeks. Companies have been reporting their earnings, and even though we were expecting it, it's in some cases it's a little worse than we thought it would be, and we're kind of paying the price for that now. The point I'm making is, in spite of this uncertainty, in spite of not knowing what's going to go on, you can still make really good money, and you can do it with peace of mind. It's very possible. I want you to take a close look at this. I'm going to show you more about this a little bit later in the presentation. I'm going to go into a little more detail on this, but this is where we are at with our students year to date, from January 1 until right now, because part of what we do at Safe Option Strategies is we teach you to do this, and we send trades to you on a regular basis that you can follow along. So we're a combination education advisory service. As of today, we are up on the year, 88%. 88%. Those yellow trade, those trades that are highlighted in yellow, those are trades that are still open. Everything else on this is closed. We've had a few losses, one of them kind of an ugly loss. But in spite of this volatility, in spite of how crazy things have been, we're up 88% on the year. Now, think about the amount of money you have to trade. What if you had $5,000 that you could trade with? Do you realize if you had $5,000 you could trade with, you would be up right now over $4,000? If all you had to trade with was $5,000, you'd be up $4,000. You'd be getting close, a little over halfway through the year, you'd be getting close to doubling your money if you were trading with us and learning the things that we're doing. If you had $100,000 to start with, do you realize you'd be up $80,000 on the year or more? Folks, these are not mythical trades. These are not pretend trades. We haven't gone back and back tested the market to say, oh, this is what we would have traded on this day. I can show you every single one of these trades in real accounts. We're absolutely crushing the market averages. And this is what we can teach you to do. Now, this is not a get rich quick thing. I want to make that really clear. These people that are out there saying, I took $2,000 and I've turned it into $4 million and I'm flying my private jet around the world now, day trading and making a living and blah, 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 blah. It's a bunch of garbage. Even if that person is being truthful and they did that, they can't teach you how to do that because that's not realistic. That is some pie in the sky thing. If that was a duplicatable thing, don't you think people would be lining up around the block to throw out whatever money they wanted, $5, $10, $20,000, $50,000 for that program? You'd be throwing that money out to buy that program in the blink of an eye if there were actually truth. And sadly, some people have bought it. And I hope you're not one of those, but if you are, I'll show you how to get it back. Okay. One of the biggest things, one of the absolute critical key things that you have to learn to survive in today's market is how to protect your money. Folks, making money in the stock market is easy. I can show you how to make money all day, every day. I can show you how to put together trades that are going to profit. But you've got to learn how to not lose money, because every trade that I can teach you and every trade that I can show you that will make you money has the possibility of losing money. Just think about the logic in that. Every single trade that has the possibility of making you a lot of money also has the possibility of losing you some money. And it doesn't matter how good you get at picking the right trade and picking the right time and having a trade that's got really high profit potential and high probability. None of that matters, because if that trade turns on you and you don't know how to protect yourself and you don't know how to protect your gains and protect your profits and protect the money you started out with, it's a losing game. It's stacked against you, just like the tables at Las Vegas or Atlantic City. It's stacked in the favor of the house if you don't learn how to protect yourself when things go against you. So how can you protect your money and your gains? Let me show you something really cool. If you're brand new to options, by the way, if you've never traded options or you've never gotten good at options, we'll teach you that in the first week or two you're a part of our program. We'll teach you everything you need to know about options. In fact, I would make a wager with you that in 2 weeks or less, I can teach you more about how options work than most brokers understand. I'm not exaggerating that one bit. I have had licensed brokers, registered investment advisors, people who have been trading options since the early to mid 70s when they came out, who have joined our program and have expressed that they've learned more about options in a short period of time, or learned things they never knew about options in a short period of time than they had known before. So don't worry, if you don't know all these definitions, if you don't understand how all this works, don't worry about that. I can teach you all of that. In fact, I will teach you all of that. And that part, that's the easy part. Okay, there's an option called the long put option. And if you own any stock, if you own any stock at all, you can use a long put option in exactly the same way that you use an insurance policy for the car that you drive or for the house that you own, or if you have some jewelry or some artwork or other collectibles or valuables. All of the things that you would buy an insurance policy for, you can use a long put option as an insurance policy for your stock. Now, our program doesn't require that you own stock. You don't have, some people look at our program and they say, I don't want to own a lot of stock. That's okay. You don't have to. We can show you how to make a lot of money using just the options and trading only options. We can show you how to make a lot of money using stocks and options together. I'm going to show you one example of using stocks and options together to show you how fantastic this is and how easy this is to learn and do. Okay? Here's how the long put option works like an insurance policy. Let's say you go out and buy a stock for $100 a share. You now have $100 per share. If you've got one share, if you've got 10 shares, if you've got 100 shares, whatever the case may be, you go out and buy that stock for $100 a share, you have $100 per share. 100% of your investment is at risk. If something catastrophic happened and that stock plummeted in value, you could lose 100% of that investment. Now, hopefully you've picked a good stock and the odds are you're not going to, but it can be devastating when you buy a stock and you lose 25 or 30 or 40%. And even some of the healthiest stocks we think of are subject to those big losses. Do you remember where Boeing was at a couple of years ago? Boeing was trading at $445 a share a couple of years ago. You know, it's been down to $90 a share since then because of all the trouble and all the problems that they've had. And 2.5, 3 years ago, no one thought that could happen to Boeing. So you buy a share of stock for $100, 100% of it's at risk. Now you go out and buy a long put option. This is what the long put option does. You pay a small amount of money relative to the price of the stock, kind of like with your insurance policy. You have a $50,000 car, you're not going to go out and pay $50,000 for an insurance policy. You're going to go pay, I don't know, maybe $100 a month for a policy that covers the car for $50,000. That's the cost of insurance, right? So we're going to go out and buy a long put option, and it's going to protect our stock at the value, at the price of the stock, and it's going to have an expiration date on it, just like our insurance policy. We buy it for 3 months at a time or 6 months at a time, or usually it's a year policy, but they'll let you pay it for a month at a time or pay it 6 months at a time. But it has an expiration. It covers a certain period of time for a certain price. In the case of the long put option, when the stock goes down, the value of that long put option goes up. And it goes up almost, not quite, it goes up almost proportionate to the stock going down. The reason it's not exact is because you've got to factor in that premium. It's like if you bought a $50,000 car and you went out and paid $100 a month to have that car protected, and some person that's not paying attention or not being careful or doing something wrong, they come and they absolutely total your car. And they have no insurance, so yours is going to have to cover it now. Well, your insurance company is going to make you whole for that $50,000, but they're not going to give you back your $100 that you paid for the insurance. They're just going to replace the car or replace the value of the car. It's the same thing here. The long put option will replace the value of the stock, but you've still spent the money on the insurance. That's okay. That's the price of protecting your stock. Now, you're covered because you either sell the stock for the $100, that's what that long put option allows you to do, or you keep the stock and you sell the long put for the same amount of money that the stock dropped, and you're even now, minus the cost of the insurance. You're even. $50 gain in the long put offsets the $50 loss in the stock. So it's really simple to do. And this is how you protect yourself. This is how you go through an earnings report, not worried about the fact that there could be some bad news and that stock that you own could be selling off like crazy and you losing a bunch of money. This is how you go through a COVID-19 pandemic and you don't stress out when everybody else is losing 35% of their retirement. You're smiling and you're saying, well, I paid a little bit for insurance, but I'm not losing any money. Everybody else is going down and I'm not. Now, there's a way to do all of this and make some tremendous profit at the same time. Some absolute tremendous profit at the same time. You recognize that, you can see the ticker symbol up in the upper left-hand corner. You recognize this stock, it's Snap, S-N-A-P. They're the parent company of Snapchat. Snapchat, one of the faster growing, more popular social media platforms. My kids all use Snapchat. They've kind of, to stay in touch with my own kids, I've kind of been forced to learn it at least a little bit. Snapchat went public a few years ago, and a student of mine got Snapchat right at the IPO. They bought in on the day of the IPO. March of 2017, they bought 300 shares for $7,200. Okay, they only had about, this particular student shared with me, confided in me, that he only had about $7,500. So he was, I wouldn't recommend everybody does this, but he kind of put all his eggs in one basket. He said, I really think this company is going to do phenomenal. Now, that was back on this day. Can you imagine what he was thinking only 6 months later? 6 months later, this stock had gone from an opening price. They opened up around $17 a share. They jumped and skyrocketed right up to 28 or 29. He got in, I think, around $24, $22 a share, somewhere in there. So he didn't get in right at the top, but he didn't get right in at the bottom. Didn't matter. 6 months later, he was down quite a ways. And this was when he found us. Okay, this right at the bottom of this arrow, this is when he found Safe Option Strategies. And he saw one of our recordings, just like the one you're watching right now. He saw one of these presentations and he said, okay, maybe they can help me fix Snap, but whether I can fix Snap or not, I've got to learn how to do this. I can't go through putting all my money into something and then having it be down over 50% just in 6 short months, down almost 50%. And look at this chart. The worst had not even come yet for Snap. You imagine how he'd have been torturing himself if he would have stayed with this company and gotten all the way to December of 2018, right down here. You imagine what he would have been thinking then? Oh, it's come back a long way since then, but this would have been a state of depression down here if you would have stayed in a company like that. All right, so he got in our program. Before he even went through any of our classes, we helped him set up Snap so that he wasn't going to lose any more money on it. Now, here's where it gets really cool. For another 5 or 6 months while he was learning the program, he was sleeping better at night because Snap was protected with these long put options. He had his insurance policy in place, wasn't really making anything, but he wasn't losing anything else. And he had to adjust the trade a couple times. He had to renew his insurance policy a couple times. We were teaching him how to do this, and we were helping him do it at the same time. Okay, Snap had this earnings report that catapulted him up. All of a sudden, he's back up here to where he originally bought in. He's like, hallelujah. I paid a little bit of money in insurance, but I slept better at night. I wasn't stressed out. Now I'm back up to where I was at. And then right after the earnings, Snap started dropping again. So we made sure right here, we got him back in a collar trade. We got that insurance back in place and up at a higher price. Now, it gets really fun right here. With long put options right here, around $18 a share, when this stock dropped all the way to $11 a share, remember, let me see if I can jump backwards. Well, I'm not going to jump back on the screen. Okay, remember the screen I was showing you where as the stock price goes down, the long put option goes up, and you can either sell your stock, that's called exercising the long put, or you can sell the long put and get in about the same amount of money that the stock has lost. Now, here's what's really cool about that. All the money for his long puts right here, they had a lot of profit in him. He sold the long puts here, and that's the money he used to add 100 more shares to his position. Now think about this. He did not add anything to his investment. He sold long put options got about $1,100, $1,200 for those long put options. He took that money and down at a price of around $11.50 a share, he added 100 more shares, but he did not add one single penny to this investment. Snap recovered a little bit. He got close to an earnings report, so he got those long put options back in place. And this time when Snap dropped, it really plunged. Remember fourth quarter of 2018? That's been almost 2 years ago now. That's been like, what, a year and 9 months ago, when Jerome Powell, the Fed chair, made some really overly hawkish comments about interest rates and stuff, and nobody liked that, and the whole market went into a tailspin. And we actually, after having a pretty good year for most of 2018, all the three major indexes, the Dow, the NASDAQ, the S&P, remember, they all finished negative by the end of 2018, just barely, but they finished negative because of that horrible fourth quarter, worst fourth quarter we had since the Great Depression, and the worst December in the history of the US stock market, all because of some comments that Jerome Powell made about interest rates. So Snap was already on its way down, and then it got caught up in that ugly fourth quarter. And at the end of December, when it turned the corner and began to come back up, the profit from those long put options allowed him to add 500 more shares of stock. Started out with 300, went from 3 to 400, went from 400 to 900 shares, and he still had not added any new investment to his position. His original position was still $7,200. Now, folks, I'm going to tell you right at this point in time, he wasn't profitable in Snap. He took a hit right here in the beginning before he found our program. But from this day forward, he was not down anything. He did not lose anything from that day forward. Fast forward a little bit. Now he's got 900 shares. Snap has a really strong first quarter in 2019. Wobbles a little bit and then has another big leg up. And all the while he's learning how to do this, and he's testing it. When it got back up around $18 a share, and that was right at the end of July 1 year ago, almost exactly a year ago right now, it got back up around $18 a share, still lower than where he originally got in. But look at this. 900 shares of stock now. His original investment, to this day, he still hasn't put more than $7,200 into Snap. 900 shares at $18 per share. $18 a share is still down more than 10% from where he originally bought the shares. So the stock is still down more than 10%. And he was up 125%. Fast forward through a couple more earnings reports, through the massive slide we had on COVID, and his ability to add 400 more shares when things started to turn around and we started to get that first part of the recovery after the big COVID sell-off. And he added another 400 shares for no additional investment. And folks, as of a couple weeks ago, and I haven't checked in with him since the first part of July. I have not checked in with him since the first part of July. He knows what he's doing now. As of the early part of July, let me clear all my marks off of here so you can read this really well. 1,300 shares were up to 26.41, and I know Snap briefly got up to 29 during the month of July. I think they're back down around 22 or 23 now. But when they were at $26.41 a share, when he had been in this trade for 3 years and 3 months from the day he got in, he was up 376%. Now, over a 3-year period of time, that is an average of 130% a year. Here's the most important part about what I'm sharing with you. It's not that he's up 130% a year. I can teach you how to do that. It's not going to happen with every single stock. I'll show you another example in a minute here. The important thing about everything I just showed you is that after that initial first 6 months where he felt kind of tortured by his decision to get into this stock, after 6 months of wondering if he had screwed up and lost the little bit of money that he had to trade with, he stopped worrying about it. He knew he couldn't lose anymore. And he trusted that the things we were showing him and the things we were teaching him were going to profit him. He didn't lose any sleep when Snap was dropping from 15 down to $5 a share. Folks, that's like a 65% loss just right here. He didn't lose any sleep when COVID caused another 35% loss in his stock. He didn't lose any sleep. He didn't lose his peace of mind. He didn't stress or worry or fret about what was going on. That's the most important part of this. This is one of the main things we can teach you. I can show you trade after trade after trade that you can set up that has zero risk. If you notice, we've inserted right here a short call, and we've got someone else paying us some money for that short call, and we can actually get into a trade just like what he did with Snap. We can get into this trade with zero risk. Now, I set this one up several weeks ago, and before I recorded again today, I didn't change it. Snap's down under $22 a share since setting this up ahead of its earnings, and students of mine that followed this trade are at a zero loss because they set up a trade that gave them the right to sell the stock at a higher price than what they entered into it for. We helped our students recently set up the same thing with JP Morgan to go through earnings. Not a penny of loss. Bank of America, Netflix. In fact, Netflix, after their earnings, they skyrocketed to the upside. And our students that followed this, and that's Netflix is an expensive stock. Not everybody was able to do this one. But over and over and over again, wash, rinse, repeat, wash, rinse, repeat. You know, like the directions on a shampoo bottle that comedians love to make fun of? Wash, rinse, repeat. You get these comedians that say, do we really need those instructions? Well, sometimes you do. This can be repeated over and over and over again. We'll teach you how to do this. This is one that we did with all of our students. Okay, my student that came to me with Snap, you know, I wasn't recommending to all of the Safe Option Strategy students that they get into Snap. Kind of wish I would have. They kind of wish I would have too. This is one that we did. And look at how far this is. This is Under Armour, by the way, and they report their earnings tomorrow. Under Armour went from a $52.50 per share stock down to 20. They got down to 12.5. You can't see it behind here. They got down to 12.5. They got back up to 20, and now they're around $11 a share going into their earnings. And do you know right now, we're up over 200% on a stock that is still down more than 50. It's down closer to 65% now. And we're up over 200%, and we've got earnings tomorrow on Snap, and we can't lose a penny on it, but Under Armour, we can make a ton of money. This is one that we actually sent to our students. They're pretty happy with 200% growth in 3 years. That's an average of almost 72%. Oh, I'm sorry, 68, 69% a year for 3 years in a row. My students are pretty happy with that because that's crushing the market averages. This is what we do over and over again. We teach you how to do this. You can do these trades. Let me back up a minute. A lot of my students will substitute the stock with a leap long call, and they get very similar results, and we'll teach you how to do that. We'll teach you how to do option only trades that don't rely on having enough capital to own the stock. I'm going to show you something in a minute that's going to blow you away. Hey, there's that one we did on Under Armour. Now, how can you learn all this and profit at the same time? I've kind of alluded to it already. Let me first tell you what you're up against, okay? Let me tell you what you're up against. You're taking time out of your schedule to watch my presentation, and I appreciate that. Even if you don't do anything with safe option strategies, look, I hope you learned something here. I hope you saw something that'll make you look at things a little bit different. And maybe you're knowledgeable enough about option trading that you can get in and do some of this and be successful with it. I'd love to teach it to you. But whether you join safe option strategies or not, I hope you've seen something that will really benefit and really help you. Okay, but let me tell you what you're up against when you're out there in the world of investment education. In the world of investment education, there's going to be three main things you run into. You're going to run into the con artists, the dreamers, and the price gougers. A lot of my competitors are all three of these wrapped into one. Let me tell you about the con artists. The con artists are the people who have a magic formula. They get you in the door for 50 bucks. They say, hey, for 50 bucks a month or for $50 period, we're gonna send you this book. We're gonna teach you how to do all of this. And it's a con game. They get you in for 50 and they get you hooked. I don't want to say they're like a drug dealer, but yeah, they get you in, they get you hooked, and then they need a little more. Oh, you got to pay now. You got to pay $1,500 for this next level of the program, but you're going to learn this and this and this, and they're going to show you all this stuff you're going to add on to it. And you're going to say, all right, well, I've had a taste of the good stuff. I'm going to do a little more. And then they give you a little bit more, and then they say, well, then if you really want to get good, if you really want to do this advanced stuff, now you're going to have to pay another $3,000. And this is going to give you our advanced trading platform, blah, blah, blah. I don't know how else to describe it, but they get you for that next money. And before you know it, over the course of 6 months or a year, a couple of years, you've shelled out $7,500 to $10,000 to these people. And you may or may not be profitable. You're certainly not going to be making the money that you thought you could make. More of my students come to me having been through this than any other one thing. They got into a program, they only paid a little bit of money, and then they found out that it was a little bit more, then they found out that it was a little bit more, then they found out that it was a little bit more. Suddenly they've spent $7,500 and they come to Safe Option Strategies and they say, well, looks like you guys could really help me, but I can't spend any more money. And I can't, I wish I was magic. I wish I could turn back the clock. I wish I could erase what you had lost with this other company. I can't. All I can do is treat you different and treat you better than that and help you grow your portfolio. After the con artists, you have the dreamers. Let me tell you about the dreamers. I mentioned this earlier. I took $2,000 and turned it into a $4 million portfolio, and I'm flying my private jet around. Or here's one of my favorite ones. I started out with $4,500 and I turned it into a $50,000 per month income, and I'm going to show you how to do it. Okay, folks, when something sounds too good to be true, it probably is. When it sounds too good to be true, most likely it is. I hope you're not feeling like what I've showed you is too good to be true, because I can prove every one of these trades. I can show you every one of these trades. This is not something that we're faking or making up or exaggerating. Okay? The dreamers, I'm not here to say whether they did what they said they did or not. I can't. Look, the guy that took $2,000 and turned it into $4 million and is flying around on private jets, maybe he did that. I don't think he can teach you to do it, because he got flat out lucky. And I wish I could get that lucky. I've never turned 2,000 into 2 million in a couple of years, because you have to take too much risk. And for every person who may have done that, there's 10 people who took risk on $2,000 and lost every penny of it. So don't get sucked into what these dreamers are telling you, that it's not realistic. It's not going to work. The price gougers, in my opinion, I put them in this category of the con artists. And like I said, some of my competitors do all three. The price gougers, I could not believe this. Just the other day, a friend of mine, I've become friends with. He's actually one of my students. I've become friends with him. He told me, and I can't remember the guy's name. I don't think I'd say it out loud on TV or on a video program like this anyway. He told me the name of a guy who charges $15,000. Think about this. $15,000 for 10 one-on-one private training sessions. Get this, that are 30 minutes each. $15,000 for 10 30-minute sessions. Okay, I've got my, you can't see me right now, but I've got my calculator in front of me. Okay, $15,000 divided by a total of 5 hours. Folks, there's people out paying this guy $3,000 per hour. I'm blown away by this. $3,000 per hour to teach them how to trade stocks and options. That's just, that guy should go to jail for price gouging. That guy should be thrown away. And I don't care if you have $1 million and you can afford that, that's still, you're being taken advantage of. Look, I'm just going to make it simple for you. We teach people how to do this and how to get really good at this. Every option strategy you can imagine, every different type of spread trade, how to use directional long options, how to use short options, how to use collar trades, how to use calendars and butterflies and condor spreads. We teach you all of that, but we teach you how to do it in a way that you are always protected and you're never going to take big losses. And we guarantee in writing for you that we will help you be profitable or we'll give you your money back. I love this saying, feed a man a fish and you feed him for a day, teach a man to fish and you feed him for life. But what happens if the guy starves while he's trying to learn how to fish? One of the biggest things we do at Safe Option Strategies is we feed you from day one, so that it doesn't matter if it takes you 6 months or a year or 2 years to learn how to do this. You're not going to starve in the meantime. We're not going to tell you to paper trade your money only from the day you get in. We want you making money day one. Most of the time when someone joins our program, for no added charge, I will spend some time with them one-on-one, helping them set up any trades that they need help with. We'll make sure from day one they're set up to where they're not going to take losses on their portfolio. And from day one, we'll start helping you make money. Okay, I want you to look at this again. By the way, these are our option only trades. These are for the people that want to do options only. And every one of these are real trades that we sent to our students. Every student that we have in our program from the first of the year could have done this. Now, this example is on a $100,000 portfolio, but I want to show you something. You don't have to have a huge amount of money to do this. I've got a student who joined the program right at the first of the year. He missed our first 3 trades, okay? Apple, JP Morgan, and Snap right up there at the beginning. He missed those first 3 trades. One of those 3 was kind of a stinker. At JP Morgan, Long Iron Condor, it didn't work out so well for us. We lost a little bit of money on it. But still, we were up on those first 3 trades. We're not faking this. He gave me permission to show you a screenshot. I was on the phone with him less than half an hour before I started this presentation, and he gave me permission to show you that year to date, he is up 85%. He only started with a $6,000 portfolio, folks. He started with $6,000 at the first of the year, missed our first few trades, and he's up almost 85%. He also gave me permission, okay? Because it will not show you an account number, I have permission from him to show you this. I am switching over to a live screen right now, and so that you know it's live and you know I'm not pretending, I'm gonna hit the refresh button right here. Hopefully he hasn't logged out. I just hit the refresh button so you know it's not fake. Oh, look, one of his trades is down a few bucks. So this has changed a little bit. Oh, and I changed my marker to black by accident. 83% with a little, yeah, the market's down today. It's having kind of an ugly day. I don't think he's too worried about it. I don't think he's too stressed. I just hit the refresh button on that so you can see we're not making this up. He gave me permission to do this because I wanted to show people you don't have to have a $50,000 account or a $60,000 account or a $100,000 account or a $200,000 account. He joined our program at the first of the year. He had $6,000. He bought the full program and he's almost paid twice for the program in his profits. Okay, let me go back to where we were. I had to get permission from him to show you that. I hope that's okay. Well, I know it's okay. He said it was okay. And I see he was down $30 more today during the middle of the day. Not a big, honestly, I know he's not stressing about it. I wanted to show you that because I want you to see we're not making this up. We're not exaggerating this. We're not BSing you about this stuff. These are the results we're getting. And we make it incredibly easy to participate with safe option strategies. We have a collar trade course in case you have maybe a little bit larger account and you don't even care if you get one of those 300% gains in the next 3 years. Certainly you'd like to. I know everybody would like to. Your biggest focus is, I've got this money, I've got it in the market, I cannot lose any more money. Yes, I want the big gains, but what is most important to me above all else is I cannot lose any more money. That collar trade strategy that's for people that do own the stock, you can trade risk-free all day, every day, and still make profits, folks. That is not an exaggeration. If you want to do spread trades only, we don't make you do both. I think you should do both. I think it's smart to learn it all. I personally, with my own personal money, I collar trade about 75% of it, and I spread trade the rest of it. Option only trades with the rest of it. Everyone's a little bit different. I've got students that are exactly the opposite of that. They collar trade 20 or 25 or 30%. They spread trade the rest. Some are 50-50. Most of my students learn how to do both. We don't make you do both. You can do one or the other. We make you a phenomenal deal if you combine them and do both programs. And folks, there isn't a single year. I've only showed you the last 7 years. I could go back 12 or 13 or 14 years. It gets kind of jumbled up on the screen, but we have not lost money a single year, and we have outperformed the market. There's only 1 year on here. You realize there's only 1 year listed here where we did not outperform the markets by double. We still had a good year in 2013, but we didn't outperform them by double. Every other year here, we have at least outperformed the market by double, and we're on pace this year for 120, 130%. We're crushing what the Dow and the NASDAQ and the S&P are doing. And again, these are real results that we can show you. The market is uncertain. You can make very educated guesses, and the more educated your guess, the better you're going to do. But it only takes one black swan event or a hiccup on the way up to cost you a lot of money. If you wanted to do our collar trade only, now when I show you these prices, I told you we're a fraction of what these other people cost. I'm going to do something else that a lot of people won't do. I'm going to show you what our prices are. But I'm also going to tell you, for those who will reach out and ask, that's all you got to do, reach out and ask. We've got a phenomenal discount we will offer. I do not publish our discount on our webpage. I do not share the details of the discount on this presentation because that discount is reserved for people who will take the step to reach out to us and ask. That way, I know I'm only working with people that are serious. If you wanted to do our collar trade only program, you could do it $1,500 annually or $2,500 lifetime. If you wanted to do the spread trade course only program, $2,000 annual, $3,000 lifetime. And if you combined both, which most people do, You could do it 3,000 annual or $5,000 lifetime. But I'm telling you right now, for those who will reach out to us, here's how you do that, by the way. Underneath this video, underneath the page where you're watching this video, it's really simple. You can just scroll down underneath. You can put your name and your email address. You can ask us any questions if you want to, and only put your phone number. This is not a required field. This field is required. This field is required. These two are not. Don't put your phone number here unless you want me to call you. And I will only call you to answer your questions. That's the only thing that you'll get a call for. If you will take the time to reach out to us and simply ask, what is the discount? I'm telling you right now, I think I'm going to shock you at how much I'm willing to take off these prices. And this is not a con game. We don't get you in for one price and try and upsell you to the next price. This is not a dreamer thing. These are real trades that we're doing with our students and real results that we're getting. This is not price gouging. I won't charge you anywhere near this price if you'll just reach out and ask what the discount is. I'll make this the best deal you can possibly get. Folks, I can help you make money. I really can. If you don't believe me, call me and ask. Email me and have a conversation with me through email or give me a phone number, I'll call you. I do not hire professional salespeople. No one from Safe Option Strategies is going to call you and try to talk you into this. We will call you to answer your questions so that you can decide if this is a good fit or not. We'll share with you a pretty incredible discount that we're offering, and we'll help you make money. And I will put in writing for you that if I can't help you make money, I'll give you your money back. I can't guarantee any specific percentage of money. We're doing phenomenal this year. I wish you had been in since the start of the year. The Dow is still down 8% and we're up 88% on the year. I wish you'd gotten into the first of the year. I can't turn back that clock. I wish you hadn't spent money on those other programs. I can't turn back that clock. What I can do is right now from today forward, I can help you fix it. I can help you make money. I can help you sleep better at night, knowing that you're not going to lose anything from this day forward. And then help you start profiting. If you're down on the year because of what's happened, I'll help you make it back. If you've lost money to other education companies because they took you, I'll help you make it back. I know that means you got to trust me. I know that's hard. I've been in your shoes before. But I know how to do this. I know how to teach it to people. I know how to make it work. You give me a chance, I'll help you make a lot of money in the stock market. Fill out that form. You're also welcome if you'd like. If it's easier for you, pick up the phone and call us. If it's easier, just pick up the phone and call us on this toll-free number right here. 888-690-6199. If nobody answers, leave a message. If the little phone tree will say for sales dial whatever extension, I can't remember what it is, that usually rings to me because we don't actually have a sales department. I'm the owner of the company and I'll talk to you. I'll take time to talk to you. I'll answer your questions. I'll tell you what's realistic to make in your account. I'll tell you whether you have enough money in your account to make the kind of income you need or make the goals you want. I'll just be brutally honest with you. And then if what we're doing is a good fit and the discount works, we'll teach you how to do this. I want you to know one last thing before I sign off. If what we're doing is not the best fit for you, if it's out of your price range, if you just can't do it right now, if you just can't bring yourself to trust that we can teach this to you, I want you to know something. I wish you nothing but the best. I wish you the ultimate success in everything you do. I'm not hoping for your failure so that you'll come back around and check us out again. That's not what I'm hopeful for. I'm hopeful that you saw enough here that you'll take the time to email us or call us, ask a few questions, see if this is the right fit, and then give us a chance to help you make a lot of money in the stock market. I hope to hear from you. Have a great day. Bye-bye.